Hey everybody, Mark Yancey here with Active Duty Passive Income, and this video I'm making specifically for those who are just getting started with real estate and do not know what kind of real estate they want to get into, even what to think about when they're determining which niche they're going into. This video is specifically about choosing the main two camps, the two tracks, the two worlds, these big categories of real estate, and that's single family residential and multifamily or commercial real estate. I'm using those kind of interchangeably, but I'm going to explain them better here in a second. Long story short, I think that those are the two biggest categories, commercial and residential, and you need to choose which one fits you better, your personality, your mindset, kind of see what speaks to you after I explain how they're evaluated. And then you'll be able to choose what flavor, what niche within that niche you want to choose and really focus your time and attention on to make sure you are maximally successful as a real estate investor. It's important to understand this concept right now because if you take the right steps and you start moving towards what your niche is going to be, you'll be able to accelerate how you start earning your cash flow and growing your net worth as quickly as possible. The more you hesitate, the more you try different various things, and the more you lose focus and get distracted, the longer it's going to take. So hopefully this video will get you on your path, knowing what you want to do and accelerate at least this first step and getting your mindset right to take the next step as quickly as possible. All right, so without further ado, here we go. Single family and residential. This is the first topic I'm going to talk about. This first category deals with primarily single family, duplexes, triplexes, and fourplexes. That is all considered residential real estate. And the real broad term there is residential real estate. A lot of times we think about just like a single family home, maybe a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, which is fine. But we don't want to forget that a duplex, meaning they're sharing walls, or basically maybe 2 3-bedroom, 2-baths, or even a triplex or a fourplex, that's also residential real estate. They get valued or appraised by an appraiser that works with the bank in the same way. And the way that is they look at the market comparables. What they try to do is they try to, within the last 12, sometimes 6 months, look within a half-mile radius at all the other homes that are similar to that, and then they use that information to determine what the price or what the value is appraised as, so that then they can report to the bank. Now, obviously, we all know the common mantra, something is only as valuable as somebody else will pay for it, right? But in this case, you have this third party. A lot of times you have a bank or a lender, and they are going to rely on what an appraisal will say. And the reason is because that's what they're going to base their leverage or the money they're going to let you borrow to acquire that property. So you kind of have to play ball here if you want to use a bank. The first kind of steps is they're just going to look at a bunch of comparables in the area with that purchased recently. So all those transactions, they're going to look at the square footage, how much did it cost per square foot, how big the yard is. They're going to look at the renovations, all those things. And all that goes into the calculation for what the price of the home should be. But the easiest thing to do is just to find ones that are the same. So if you're looking at a single family home that's 3-bedroom, 2-bath, go find single family homes that are 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Don't compare something that's drastically different when you're trying to determine what you think the value is, right? The reason why it's important to understand that that's how a single family property is valued is because you need to now look at that and be like, do I feel good, or does it make sense with my mindset? Does that fit my personality to be approaching real estate investing or the value of the properties that I'm going to be investing in from that perspective? Am I okay with the market dictating the price, and then I just need to do my part in finding the right deal and making sure that if I renovate it or rent it or whatever your strategy is going to be, it'll then be valued the way I want it to be valued. A lot of cash flow investors, they sometimes don't care as much on what the value is. All they really care about is, hey, is it going to make money every month? ADPI really believes in this. You got to know, because part of the cash flow is going to be based off of how much you got to pay for your mortgage, and the mortgage is going to be dependent on the price of the home. So it's all kind of works together. Now, multifamily or commercial, again, the broader term here is commercial real estate, and that could be a Walgreens down the street, it can be a multifamily apartment complex with 100 families living in it, or it could be a mobile home park, right, with a bunch of pads and a bunch of mobile homes on them. All that's considered commercial real estate, but for the purposes of this video, we're just going to talk about multifamily apartment complexes just to make it simple. Here's the difference. All right, I'm going to use my handy dandy pencil to kind of go through an analogy or go through an example of how it's different. So I'm going to draw a little apartment here, okay? I don't know, let's just say each window represents a unit. Let's say it's an 8-unit apartment complex. Not too big, right? These can be hundreds of units, but let's just pretend. And let's say we had another one that was exactly the same. same colors, same build material, same amount of units. Each unit is the same amount of square feet. Just pretend they're exactly the same. This one's on 123 Main Street, this one's on 124 Main Street, or whatever. The difference here is they are going to be valued based off of how they're operating as a business, and they're like, okay, how much money is it gonna make me? The two factors that are important there is how much money does it bring in? So like, what is the revenue? What are the rents? And then what are the expenses? And whatever's left over, that's kind of used to then determine the value. And I'm gonna do a separate video after this, so make sure you subscribe, and it's gonna go over how that valuation happens because it's really fascinating. Now you have to compare this to how the single family world works, right? So in the single family world, a part of it's kind of out of your control because the market kind of determines the prices there. What is in your control is finding the right deal and then applying the right strategy and scaling your operations to gain more and more either rentals or whatever fix and flips wholesales you're doing. With apartment complexes in multifamily, there's a little bit more control, although it is a little bit more work in a certain way of looking at it. You're now acquiring a business, and how well you're able to operate it will determine the price. So even if you find the greatest tenants of all time and they pay every single month, and maybe even you bump the rents up a little bit on a single family home, that doesn't necessarily mean that the price will go up. With a multifamily property, if you start bumping up the rents, that means it makes more money. And maybe you decrease the expenses. That means the money that's left over is what will be used to value the property. That kind of puts you more in the driver's seat. Some people might actually like the market determining the value because it might seem more of a stable and known entity or factor, and then they just need to play the game around it, like finding properties at a low price and holding them, or if you want to sell them at a high price, whatever. Once you know the rules of the game, you're able to really play around it. But with multifamily, if you want the whole game be you operating the property, that's the difference there. So you got to ask yourself, like, what type of business do you want to own? What type of a real estate investor do you want to be? And then that'll help you determine what you should dive into and what, big camp or track of real estate investing you should start focusing on. Subscribe to our channel, and we're going to talk more about the next steps as a real estate investor to determine your exact niche within either one of those camps, and then what to do to become very successful at that. Start earning cash flow so that you can take care of your expenses and basically retire and do whatever you want.
That's all, folks.
This is Mark Yancich again with Active Duty Passive Income. Take care. Bye.